What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to be looking at the Kizer Hyper. Let's get into it. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to do some profile comparisons. We'll weigh the knife, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. Let's go ahead and kick it off against a couple of budget knives. Here it is against the Migron Moriarl, which is more medium size. As you can see right here, this is coming in a little bit smaller. And then we'll bring out the Civivi Bultusk, which is more of a full-size knife, a little bit bigger than the Moriarl. So this one here is coming in more like on the smaller side of EDC. Let's move the Bultusk out of the way and bring in the Spyderco Shaman for a couple of more premium offering comparisons. We'll hang on to the Moriarl for a second because I want to use that for the profile comparison. And then we'll bring in the Spyderco Para 3, which I consider to be on the small size of medium. And you can see the Kizer Hyper is coming in much smaller than that as well. All right, let's do a quick profile comparison. That way you get an idea like how thick is this, how thick will it feel in the pocket, in hand, etc. We'll do the Para 3 first. And as you can see against the Para 3, it's coming in just a skosh thicker. And then we'll compare it to the Moriarl. With the Moriarl, it is actually just a hair, and I don't know if you'll see that on camera, but it is just a hair thinner than the Moriarl. So right in between the Para 3 and the Moriarl, so a little bit chunkier than one, a little bit thinner than the other. Let's go ahead and check the weight on this. I thought I clicked the on button, but I guess not. This should be fairly lightweight for a small knife, and it's seriously hollowed out. So under 3 ounces, coming in at 2.7 ounces. Let's jump into my thoughts and impressions on the Kizer Hyper. So let's talk about ergos. Very neutral handle shape, got a nice finger cutout here. I actually have found, like, for me, going up to the first knuckle with this one, being that it is smaller, is the most comfortable position. I can get 3.5 fingers on. If I try to get a full purchase, like if I wanted to use it for power cutting, I actually hang off the back a little bit further, and I can't quite fit the full finger in there comfortably. I'm hanging out the front and the back on this one. I don't know how well that'll show on camera, but for me, it is a smaller knife, and I would probably say this isn't going to be the one that I would grab to break down cardboard, but it would be comfortable to, break a box down or open a box or tear a box open with this or cut it open with this. The pocket clip works good, but I have found sometimes it does bind up a little bit right there in the opening hole when I'm going into the pants pocket. Most of the time it clears it okay because it is like 50-50 over, but a couple times I noticed like I had to shove it down and then it went in there just fine. Good clearance. It goes all the way down into the pocket, no issues whatsoever. It is a button lock. Seems like it is done very well. Doesn't seem like it wants to fail. No stick whatsoever. No lock rock. No side to side. I don't think I checked side to side until just now. So very locked up and very well done. Kizer did a good job on this one. The scale pieces, which we're going to dive into here in just a second, are solid, but you do have the hole, the pass-through hole here. So it's a very interesting construction. Before we get into the action and everything, I just want to talk about it while we're on the ergos. It's an onlay piece that is bolted into the bottom piece here. Now, it doesn't look like there's any internal screw construction here. Actually, there it is. I don't know how well it'll show on camera because it is low lighting today, a little overcast. So I don't have any natural light coming in here. So there you can see, I didn't notice it earlier, but it is because it's so dark. You do have a couple of internal screws, it looks like, for that construction. So you probably have to do one scale at a time, and then you probably go through and sandwich it together on these screws here. But these two screws here and here that I was mentioning earlier, does have the pocket lint. There you go. Those appear to be the construction screws on here. So that is how it is put together. It is a pass around knife. Kevin sent this via the Lefty pass around. Thanks and shout out to Kevin. So I'm not going to be taking this one apart. I only disassemble my own. And not too many people responded on if they like to see the disassembly with the review video. So I'll have to make a decision whether or not to to separate those, because I feel like separating them does make it a little bit easier for people to find. The other thing I wanted to talk about on this as well is the pocket clip moves. So you can see it moves fairly easily. I don't know if that screw needs to be tightened down more or what's going on with it. Again, not my knife, so I'm not going to disassemble and take care of that. But I did notice that there is a lot of play with that, so I was a little disappointed in that. But the spring again on here, very tight, and it retains really well in pocket. Let's talk about the action. No button stick, as I mentioned earlier on the button, solid lockup on it. I really like that a lot. The thumb stud placement is really good here. I think they probably could have gone forward just a touch, because it wouldn't have gotten too close to the bar and it would have pulled it back a little bit more, but it feels good. Like there's no issues with it. Thumb stud size is fine considering it's a small knife. I don't think I would want them to be too much bigger, but it does feel good. And again, the action with the lockup is buttery smooth. Reverse flick is fine, feels as good as it does with a thumb stud. I feel like opening holes and flicking holes and things like that always work a little bit better, but you can deploy this, no issues whatsoever. Ever, what the heck? You have the name of the knife on the spine, really small print, so not too loud, not too in your face. The Kizer is washed out. I wish they would have faded it just a little bit more, but it's not awful. I don't really love when they put their branding down on this part of the blade, make it smaller and put it up here, in my opinion, but not a big deal, and it is pretty faint. I like the fact that I don't know why they put the number on here. I don't know if this is the model number or the number of the marking of the knife. I have a feeling it's the model number, but someone can correct me in the comments. I don't know for sure. S35VN blade steel, so you're getting a really nice steel. At the time of the filming this, it's a little tough because I'm looking it up between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it's coming in at like $107 on the website, and I don't know if that's the regular price or not. It seems like a sale price, because S35EN and aluminum construction, which is a little bit more premium than G10, usually runs like around 120 to 140 bucks from what I have seen in the past. But if that's the normal price, that's a really good price on this. It's not a terribly thick stock, but it's thick all the way throughout. And what I mean by that is that the thickness carries all the way out to the tip, and you can see on the Para 3 you do get slicey out to the end, and it has a taller flat grind, so it gives a better slicing performance. You don't feel it moving through the material. This one here, you can tell it's a little thick. You just got to use a little bit more effort to pass through the material, but for like opening stuff and regular cutting, it does really well. Like there's no issues. It came with a good factory edge. Draw cut, utility cuts. It has a nice pinch grip because it is so small. It's really easy to get out to the tip and control it. And then again, you can choke up just a little bit with that forward finger a little to get out to the tip. If you need to just carefully cut into something that's shallow or something like that, it'll work well for that. But I like it. It's a cool little knife. I'm very impressed with the offering, and it's a unique design, just over $100. If you'd like something bigger, the Civivi Altus and the Civivi Quibbit, the Quibbit came out in aluminum 14C28N, which is not as good a blade steel as S35VN, but you're getting it for like, $60, I think it was, like around that $60 price point. And then the same thing for the Altus, which is now being offered in aluminum. I had no issues with the steel in the G10 conversion, but the aluminum makes it so they can make it a little bit thinner and use less materials, but a strong material. Aluminum is very strong, even though you may see snail trails and you may see little marks and stuff like that show up on the aluminum as it wears. But aluminum, overall, I really like. because it is very durable, it is very tough, and it's very lightweight. It's a nice compromise material that you can use on these, and it does make it feel more premium, and the coating on this is very nice as well. So I do like this one. There's a couple options out there, even from Kizer. Like, I know I threw Civivi out there, but nothing's really jumping off the top of my head for Kizer that's like this type of blade shape and handle that's neutral. And I would say probably the Cubit's more neutral than the Altus. I think the Altus has a little bit of a heel on it, which I don't have anything on the table to show that. And then again, for under 50, the Moriarl, it's not a button lock, but it does have comparable blade thickness in there, and it may even be slightly thinner. It's hard to tell by the naked eye, but you got that taller flat grind on there. But it is 14C28. 14C28N, GN. I wanted to say G10 before I finished saying 14C28N. More medium, a little bit more confident inspiring, because you can get all four fingers back here if you do need to power cut, and just kind of use the thumb to guide to keep it from coming into that forge choil. But even with that forge choil, you have so much space left over. So I mean, I guess that's another option you can make out there for the budget oriented. I don't know if there's any more of these left, but this is actually the S90V lightweight variant of the Para 3, and they were like 140, so, or maybe like 146, so roughly $40 more. You could get a USA made one, and then these are the Applied Weapon Tech scales that completely replace the factory scales on here, and it gives it that skinny vibe, which is really nice. So a USA made option that's really well made. I really like the Para 3. They always do a good job with the detent and the compression lock, but I like this because it's so unique, and it's very different than everything that's out there. A lot of people might not like this pass through, but I think they did that again to make it A, different, and B, this little two-piece construction to give it two-tone and customize it, because I think they offer different options here. That was really cool. I like that. Let me know what you think about the Kizer Hyper down in the comments below. Shout out to everyone out there that uses the links, comments, likes, and is subscribed. It helps the channel immensely, and I love you guys for it. Thank you for the support. I hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.